What would happen if humanity suddenly disappeared? From abandoned cities to the natural world reclaiming its space, the Earth would look drastically different. Stay till the end for the most surprising twist. And if you're curious about the future of our planet, hit like and subscribe for more. Let's dive into the top 10 things that would happen if humanity went extinct. 10. Cities would crumble into urban jungles. Without human maintenance, our magnificent cities would begin their slow return to nature. In just a few decades, urban centers would transform dramatically. Skyscrapers would become artificial cliffs, their windows shattered, steel supports rusting, and concrete foundations cracking. Plants would take advantage of every opportunity, with seeds sprouting in gutters, cracks, and rooftops. Roads would buckle as vegetation breaks through asphalt. And within a century, most smaller buildings would collapse entirely. Only the most robust structures, like the Great Pyramid at Giza or Hoover Dam, might remain recognizable for thousands of years. Our grandest cities would become mysterious ruins, buried under vegetation. 9. Nuclear plants would create environmental disasters. The world's 440-plus nuclear power plants would pose immediate environmental threats. Without human operators to maintain cooling systems, many would experience catastrophic meltdowns within days or weeks. The resulting radiation releases would create dozens of exclusion zones, poisoning surrounding ecosystems for centuries. Ironically, some wildlife might adapt to these contaminated environments, as we've already observed in Chernobyl, where wolves, bears, and other species thrive despite elevated radiation levels. These areas might evolve into strange evolutionary laboratories, where increased mutation rates could accelerate adaptation in certain resilient organisms. 8. Domesticated animals would face mass extinction. Most pets would face immediate peril. Dogs might form packs and adapt to feral life, with smaller breeds struggling significantly. Cats, being more self-sufficient hunters, would have better survival odds, though pampered indoor cats would likely perish quickly. Modern farm animals have been selectively bred for productivity at the expense of survival traits. Dairy cows requiring daily milking would suffer painful deaths, while chickens bred for maximum production would struggle to reproduce naturally. Within a few generations, only the most adaptable domesticated animals would survive, gradually evolving back toward their wild ancestors through natural selection. 7. Global air quality would dramatically improve. The absence of human industrial activity would transform Earth's atmosphere quickly. Within days, particulate matter from factories, vehicles, and power plants would begin settling out of the air. Nitrogen oxide levels would drop dramatically within weeks, and visible smog would dissipate from urban centers. Cities once plagued by pollution would experience crystal-clear skies. Without light pollution, stars would shine brilliantly over former metropolises for the first time in centuries. The ozone layer would begin healing itself more rapidly, and acid rain would significantly decrease as pollutant emissions plummeted. 6. Ocean ecosystems would rebound spectacularly. Marine environments would experience remarkable recoveries. Without commercial fishing fleets removing 90+ million tons of fish annually, depleted populations would begin rebounding within a few years. Apex predators like sharks and tuna would gradually return to dominance, restoring crucial balance to marine food webs. Coral reefs, currently threatened by warming, acidification, and pollution, would begin slow recoveries as ocean chemistry gradually stabilized. Plastic pollution would remain a lingering problem, but without new inputs, even this would eventually diminish. Within a century, the oceans might approach something resembling their pre-industrial state. 5. Forests would reclaim vast territories. Agricultural fields would be colonized by pioneer species within months, and early successional forests would establish within decades. Former pastures, croplands, and managed landscapes would gradually transition back to their natural state, with forests eventually covering nearly 70% of Earth's land surface, up from today's approximately 30%. In North America, the eastern deciduous forest would reconnect, creating an unbroken woodland from the Atlantic to the Mississippi. The Amazon would expand into former cattle ranches and soy fields. This massive reforestation would sequester billions of tons of carbon, helping to gradually reverse human-driven climate changes. 4. Most endangered species would recover. With habitat destruction, hunting, and pollution eliminated, most endangered species would have a fighting chance at recovery. Animals currently pushed to the brink by human activities, like mountain gorillas, tigers, and rhinoceroses, would begin repopulating their former ranges. Some rewilding would occur in surprising places. Large predators would return to landscapes where they've been absent for centuries. In North America, mountain lions would reclaim the eastern states, while European landscapes might see the return of brown bears and wolves across their former territories. However, species already reduced to critically small populations might still perish despite humanity's absence. 3. Human infrastructure would create ecological barriers. While many human structures would eventually crumble, others would persist for millennia, creating novel ecological features. Major dams would block river systems for centuries before eventually failing. Tunnels, mines, and underground structures would provide new habitats for specialized cave-dwelling organisms. Massive landfills would form strange artificial hills that would weather into unique geological features. These concentrated deposits of plastic, metal, and other materials would create unusual soil conditions, potentially driving novel evolutionary adaptations. Future sedimentary rocks would contain an Anthropocene layer, a thin stratum containing plastics, concrete, and elevated radioactive isotopes, marking humanity's brief presence. 2. Climate would stabilize, but remain altered. Without ongoing human emissions, Earth's climate would begin a slow return toward equilibrium. However, the changes we've already set in motion would continue for centuries. Sea levels would continue rising for hundreds of years as ice sheets and glaciers adjusted to higher temperatures. Gradually, Earth's self-regulating systems would reassert themselves. Expanded forests would draw down carbon dioxide, and the carbonate cycle would slowly remove excess CO2 from the atmosphere. Within a few thousand years, Earth's climate might resemble its pre-industrial state, though certain changes, like species extinctions and redistributions, would be permanent. 1. Earth would witness the rise of new dominant species. The ecological niches we currently occupy would become available to other species, potentially leading to the evolution of new forms of intelligence given enough time. While it's impossible to predict which lineage might develop advanced intelligence, several candidates show promise. Certain highly intelligent species, like crows, parrots, octopuses, or whales, might evolve increased cognitive abilities without human competition. Alternatively, some surprisingly adaptable animals like raccoons could expand into new niches. Given enough time, millions of years, one or more of these lineages might develop their own forms of civilization, perhaps even discovering the archaeological remains of humanity and wondering about the strange species that briefly dominated the planet before mysteriously disappearing. What do you think of our video? Let me know in the comment section below. Also, subscribe to our channel before you go. Thanks for watching.